If I may,
Yes.
I think there are a number of things we can do, not just at the grassroots level.
Yes.
And to start with data. For any policy work to be taken up, there has to be data to back the issue you're raising. So when we come back to technologically facilitated GBV, one of the things we can do at grassroots level is to document. How many cases are we seeing online? And documenting online issues requires you to be as fast as technology moves.
Yes.
So if I went online today and I saw someone has written something negative about D, the best thing, let me take a screenshot. Because in a few minutes after that,
You won't find
that
it.
person will delete it.
So
we
receipts.
need, we
Receipts are very
need to
important.
document
Yes.
as many cases as possible. Remember, we are all grappling with technology and the opportunities and the bad things. So we need to have a law in place to manage technologically facilitated GBV cases in Kenya. Because we have cyber crimes, we have data, but we don't have one law
Yes.
that mentions which are these violations. How do you deal with them? So to push for that, we need data. Two, we can, once we get data and we know what cases are, rampant, we can develop a model law because it is us who are affected. So we can, draft something and say, this is how we want you to deal with the issue. And I think thirdly, then, since we are not the policy makers, then we engage policymakers with our draft law, with the data that we have, so that now they can actually act. But without data that shows that this is a problem, no one will wake up one day and say, let's pass a law to curb coordinated attacks. So we need, I think as grassroots, we need to keep data, document as many cases as we can to show that this is actually a problem.
All right. So in very few words, what you're saying is it needs to start with us. Let us do something about it before we engage the policymakers. Let us come with, if I may call it, evidence. These are the screenshots.
Yes.
This is what Judy said. It was there 2 hours, 30 minutes later, it was removed. So let us start with, as women, let's go forward. As we're all struggling to put our feet to balance. We're all trying to find, is it safe? Is it balancing? Are we in the middle? Do we move on the side? Let us make a point of having the evidence. You wanted to add something?
Yeah, I think I agree with her. Data is needed. But when it comes to our laws, I think Kenya, we have so many laws, but implementation is where we have an issue. Because when you look at the Computer Misuse and Cyber Crimes Act, the law has very stringent punishment. So looking at cyber harassment, you are given 10 years in prison or a fine of 20 million. So the law has already done its part. As she has said, evidence needs to be collected. And I think where we lose it at is at reporting. So we need to teach people, how do you collect evidence? Just as how we have done for physical, sexual and gender-based violence and teaching people how to collect evidence, I think we need to move that conversation now to the online space. Yes. And she has said it clearly. Teach them, how do you collect evidence? Because I understand that people are afraid of secondary victimization.
Yes.
You are going to report, and then now everyone turns against
The
you.
whole community decides you're the snitch.
Exactly. And we've seen that with very many media personalities. They try, but when you look at the backlash and you are the victim, you are the survivor, looking at the perpetrator, you don't even remember who this person is. Then looking also at the legal system, the judicial system, we know that the cases take a very long time. So even when you look at such a case, and you can imagine if you're going to be in court for 2-3 years, you definitely don't want to go there. Yeah. So we need to move away from our laws, yes. we already have them. Let's look at now the institutions. Are the institutions doing their roles?
Yes.
Do they know what their roles are and how do they implement those roles?
All right.
Yeah.
Implementation, very important. Grantees and social justice centers are using digital tools as a means of educating communities, document violations, challenge disinformation, and create safe online spaces. And many groups are training girls and women and youth to recognize the digital threats that we face every other day, how to respond to online violence, and use technology safely. But I'm just to add on the grassroots conversation that we've had, how have the organization used digital tools for advocacy? How have they used the tools for mobilization? And how have they used the tools to mobilize and protect against TFGBV? If I may start from you, sorry to come back to you. Still, we're going back into grassroots. She had actually decided grassroots, yes, but let's also add the urban. But let's speak of Homa Bay, the advocacy bit, the mobilization, you being a lawyer. How have you been able to help in the grassroots?
So for rural areas, we still have to use both. You have to use the physical and also the social media space. And social media, we focus on more of WhatsApp because a lot of people are on WhatsApp. So when we are doing a lot of mobilizing, it's on WhatsApp groups. The CSO network has a WhatsApp group, and then now it does trickle down, and we mobilize at that level.
Do you give trainings?
Yes, we do. So we have been doing small. Okay, there are really small groupings.
No.
But
small is not small enough. I mean, they always say you start
That's
small.
why it starts.
And let me tell you,
Yes.
me having the three of you here, this is huge.
Yeah.
As long as the information you're passing is something that, there's nothing as good as word of mouth. Word of mouth beats it.
Yeah.
If today you want to go and speak about me, it only takes the three of you, and then tomorrow they'll be like, where is she? Can we meet her? So these people you're calling small, kindly appreciate these people because mdomo, imagine village moja. Yeah, ushago. Mtu ametoa information imeenda village ingine imetoka kwa chief. Yeah, so congratulations. You're not small. Let's take it from there.
An example of what we've been doing. So with the Young Women in Politics 50/50 campaign, we have sort of moved how we are working at the grassroots. So currently we are using, so when we have sports, we are using dialogue through sports. And now when we had in Homa Bay, we had a netball activity. And now when we had this netball activity, then we invite also the media. And we know at the village level, people listen to radio stations and things like that. But then WhatsApp is our main area of mobilization. So we still have to do it both ways, but it is working, and we love how things are moving.
Okay. Madam Nduta, if I may, let's talk about community-led practices that have proven effective in responding or preventing TFGBV.
I think one of the things I've seen work, especially for the women defenders, is the WhatsApp groups.
Yes, just like she said.
Yes, because if I'm under attack, I'll just go there and post that I'm being attacked. And what the women have done, they've picked my story from the WhatsApp and went online and told a different story of who Salome is. This is being said about Salome, but this is Salome. And they pushed the narrative from the groups so that if I belong to 3 groups, I've just posted in one. So many members of that group belong to different groups, and they'll pick the story and run with it. And that has really helped. Beyond TFGBV, they've also been used to help survivors of violations. And we mobilize for psychosocial support through the groups, because someone has come out, they've said, I've gone through this. So while others are pushing for the positive narrative stories out there, there are others who are mobilizing for support for this woman defender. So the WhatsApp groups have helped, but then you have to tie them with the other social media spaces.
Yes.
Because there could be people who are not in the group. You've put it on Facebook, someone who is on Facebook and they are on Twitter, they also pick it and push it in this space.
Yes.
The young people who are on Instagram, they also pick and push the story. So by the end of the day, you get that so many people have been mobilized by different people, some whom you don't even know.
Yes.
And that is the beauty of technology on one side.
Somebody totally, a stranger is championing for you, is making noise that Nduta needs this help. You mentioned Facebook and then you went to Instagram, and I remembered the Gen Zs have always said Facebook ni watu wazee, but munaona inasaidia in as much as
Yes.
it's for watu wazee, but the information is out there. Yeah.
I mean, that is actually an important statement, especially when women need to mobilize. They know when I go to Facebook, I am targeting the older demographic.
Mama wenzangu hapo
Hata
huko.
ikisemwa Facebook ni ya wazee, it can work in a good way.
It does.
Yes, some say ukitaka Gen Z enda TikTok. Hapo ndio wako au ndio voters
Information
unahitaji.
utapata.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I just wanted to add something to what they've said.
All right.
One other thing we've done in the community in terms of using digital technology for good to amplify the issues that women face is storytelling. We developed a documentary that we allowed women who are in politics to talk about their experiences vying for political seats through interviewing them and ensuring that their stories are out there and people can get to understand an election cycle, how it goes for a woman in politics, and how the digital space can be leveraged for campaigning, for passing on their political manifesto. And also we did online webinars where we brought women who are in politics and who have experience in navigating the digital space. And some of them would advise women who are just getting into the political space and tell them, don't shy away from the digital space. Some would even say, whatever the people are talking about misinformation, sometimes just accept, yes, it is true. And then, and once you accept and you realize, these people don't have anything more to say about you, it just fizzles out away most of the time.
Yes.
And then they proceed with using the digital space to advance their political agenda in a good way.
All right.
Yeah.
In all this, we need a call to action, building a culture, shared digitally responsibility, or we have a culture that the responsibility is yours, is mine. Every other person that steps or uses the digital space, there is a responsibility. It starts with you. What information are you putting up there? Fine, you're talking about TFGBV, but how are you helping? You understand? How are you projecting? If you're making noise, you're not in a good space, you're not safe, how am I helping? So we need to build that culture of shared digital responsibility. And this brings me to ask, what collective actions should communities, civil society, and the justice sector take to strengthen digital accountability? Yes, one, the civil society, the community, and justice sector to take to strengthen digital accountability. Nduta, if I may.
As we celebrate these 16 days of activism,
Yes,
because the theme is quite clear what we are pushing for, I think as civil society, we need to jointly work together. Let us map this country called Kenya, so that when I know the Social Justice League is in Homa Bay, I shouldn't go to Homa Bay. Let me leave them to deal with Homa Bay and any other county.
yes.
Then let me go to Northeastern. And if civil society was to collaborate for once in these 16 days of 2025, by the time we get to January, at least the entire country will be knowing that there's this problem that we are dealing with and we need to do something about it. So collaboration is key.
All right.
But then secondly, I think we need to agree that once we send the message out there and we're reaching the masses, how do we start engaging the public officers with the problem that we have identified?
All right.
And we can engage with them from county level to national level.
All right.
And that when we pull our resources, our knowledge, our efforts together, then people will realize how dire the situation is, and they will start planning for how to deal with it.
All right. Time seems to be running, but we got to do what we got to do. So I'll throw it to you, then we wrap it up. But most importantly, we need to understand how can we foster a culture where digital users challenge harmful online behavior and support survivors instead of blaming them. In a few words,
there's a saying in law: ignorance is no defense. And as people who are using social media, it is upon us to know what is wrong and what is right.
Yes.
Because I remember during the protests, people were doing a lot of doxing, sharing people's information. When someone comes to you and you're arrested, you won't say, I didn't know it was not okay to do that.
Yes.
So let's be aware of what we are doing and not just use social media passively.
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome. To you, my dear. I see you have some few points written down there. If you can just give me 2 points, and then we move to maybe a final question, and then we wrap it up with something from each one of you.
All right. I would speak about promoting positive narratives.
Yes.
Both online and offline. The theme of the 16 days is saying unite to end digital violence. Whether we are a civil society organization, whether we are a state institution, whether we are the community, whether we are any other person with a phone using social media, we need to promote positive narratives as opposed to promoting the various forms of tech-facilitated violence.
All right. We have basically spoken about positive narratives, collaboration. And just to add, I'm sure we have a few more words we can end on what collaborative steps, on top of what we've spoken about, can CSOs and grassroots groups take to expand digital safety campaigns during the 16 days of activism and beyond? You had written something? What can we add? What collaborations can we have? Who do we come together with? Who do we hold hands with in these 16 days? Our main mission here is to pass the message. Like she said, until we come to January, we need to have made enough noise that the data changes, the numbers improve, the information is out there. So who do we collaborate with? If we have any CSOs, in the grassroots, in the community, in the society, how do we do this? How do we expand the digital safety campaigns?
We need to move away from working in silos. So we can't just be working as CSOs. So let the 16 days of activism move past the CSOs.
All right.
It needs to be intersectoral. So the technology companies, the government, students, we need to find people in different sectors and away from what we are used to so that we can make the actual impact. So even the village elders, let's switch them.
So the word is involve.
Yes.
Let everybody be part of it.
Yeah.
And for me, I want to call on the mainstream media. We've looked more on the social media. I believe the mainstream media has a role to play because we have communities where internet has never reached. It may not have reached by January in terms of penetration to the least person. But I think some of our mainstream medias are heard in every corner of this country.
Radio ni nusu ya kuonana.
Exactly. So for me, they have a role to play, especially as we embark on the 16 days of activism.
All right. Something you want to add?
Yes, I would say that we think about male engagement, especially if we want to successfully fight tech-facilitated violence or any kind of violence against women. We need to think about how we engage men and boys more, bring them in conversations so that we create awareness and say this is wrong and it should no longer be promoted. And they also, there are some people who do things unawares, not knowing that the extent of harm it can cause to an individual. But when the awareness is created, they get to understand that this is how I can support a woman instead of promoting misinformation about who they are online. Yeah.
All right. Do women have the power to end this?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And I think what I would say as we finalize, let's promote Ubuntu. let's collaborate.
Collaborate.
Let's collaborate.
That's one.
Yes. Let's collaborate. As a community, when you see someone being attacked, help them out.
Yes.
Because what we find with TFGBV is a lot of isolation. So don't let someone just be there alone. And also let's teach it that.
It's fine.
Let's
Your ancestors are alert.
Each other.
Yes.
Let's not be ignorant of the law and social media ethics.
All right.
Yeah.
Over to you, Madam Nduta.
Of course, women are able to change this. They say we are 62% of the Kenyan voters. And we are the parents of Gen Zs.
Yes.
So if we turn our 62% of votes into 62% of people working towards ending technologically facilitated GBV, we'll definitely win. But also, let's bring our children on board and let's teach them that their power is important to end this. Because if they don't end it, tomorrow they will be the mothers.
Yes.
They will be attacked and they will have no one to blame.
It will be moving from one generation to the other, not unless we put a stop to it. And to you?
I agree that women have the numbers. We have seen it in marches that are called by women, such as the March Against Femicide. That was enough evidence that women know how to mobilize themselves and they have the numbers and they are able to overcome anything.
All right. This has been a special edition of Hatua Podcast, exploring how technology, while a powerful tool for connection, civic participation, and storytelling, has become a new frontier of harm, particularly for women and girls experiencing online harassment and abuse, and to add on that, exploitation. My name is Duo Presenters Rehan. Thank you so much for joining us. Subscribe, share, like. Thank you.